Data here. So one thing that I was thinking about was how to generate information from ChatGPT for the purpose of doing statistical inference. And so there are a few different challenges with inference. One is generalizing from a sample to a population. And ChatGPT has lots of information available online, and it's not really designed to generate information as tables that you would bring into a programming environment, but surely some version of that is coming. And so I just played with it for a few minutes and was extremely impressed, so I decided to make a video. So the first thing I'm doing right here now is just reading in the Mtcars data set and then creating an Mtcars linear model. And I see the two coefficients from the linear model are the intercept term, which is 37, and the slope, which is -5. So when we graph Mtcars, miles per gallon as a function of weight, we see that the miles per gallon decreases by about 5 with every additional 1,000 pounds or whatever it is added to the weight of the engine. And so that's a simple linear regression model. The slope is the correlation multiplied by the quotient of Sy over Sx. Now, what I did here is I went into ChatGPT and I said, can you create a data frame that has cars built before 1950? Because the Mtcars data set is 1973, I believe, and it's all from within the same year. And so I was just interested in, what would this mean if you created a data set with Studebakers and Packards and whatever else isn't really built anymore, and the Pierce Arrow is in here. And so it created a data set of 16 observations, and I did it in pieces just because I was kind of getting a timeout issue because everyone's using ChatGPT. And then what I did is I put that back into RStudio and created a new data frame called Cars Before 1950. So run that code, and I asked ChatGPT to generate this data frame as a tibble so I could just copy and paste it into the console. And now when I create a new scatter plot that has miles per gallon as a function of weight, what I can do is I can add the slope from my previous model and using the geom AB line layer and specifying the first and second coefficients. And then I can also create a linear model on the new data and compare the difference in the slopes and intercepts. And I can see how my linear model might have generalized to a new sample without having to split my original data set into different folds using cross-validation or something like that. So I haven't validated the data that came out of ChatGPT, even though I spot checked a few observations and they seemed reasonable. And it also kind of seems logical what's happening in the data also, that maybe these early cars aren't optimized in every possible way, so the weight of the engine wouldn't necessarily affect the fuel efficiency in the same way that modern cars would. It would be like a smaller factor of the total. That's just speculating. But then also what I could do is I could bind the new data frame to the existing Mtcars data frame and sort of augment the data in that way and create a data set that's 50% bigger. And so I'm increasing the sample size, which if I trusted this new data as being sort of from the same sample, which I don't, but imagine I did, then it would give me more narrow confidence intervals. I think ChatGPT is going to have a huge impact in the ability to take data and then compare it with custom-built data frames from information from publicly available sources for the purpose of doing statistical inference. And so I think there's lots of opportunity.